are you there? Where are you? Reply to me!
Oh, Stephanie. Long time no see.
Never mind, long time no see. What do you think you're doing turning down my wedding invitation? You mean you're not coming?
Huh?
I invited you to my lavish wedding because I felt bad for you being a pitiful reject with no friends. And you had the nerve to send it back with the not attending box ticked? What the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm busy that day.
It's my wedding day, for heaven's sake. You should be dropping all your plans and rushing at the chance to give me and my fiance your blessing. Isn't that what best friends are for?
Best friends? Who?
Me and you, obviously. Did you forget all about how close we were in college? There was you living out your days on campus in introverted solitude with a life less exciting than a pile of rocks. When I, the queen of all extroverts, unparalleled in beauty and popularity, was so kind to shine a beam of hope on your tragic existence and became your friend.
You mean you just wanted me to hang out with you to make yourself look better? That hardly qualifies us as best friends. If anything, it just makes you a selfish narcissist. Anyway, Taylor is my best friend.
Huh? Taylor? You mean that filthy peasant with no parents who's so poor she couldn't even afford to buy lunch? That Taylor?
I'd prefer if you didn't talk about my friend that way.
Isn't it the truth, though? Lol. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get to business. I want to give you the maid of honor speech at my wedding.
What?
Plus, you can sing and play piano, right? I heard you were pretty good. I want you to perform for everyone after your speech.
No, I made it very clear when I returned the invitation that I won't be attending. My schedule's full up.
Well, you should make room in it to attend your best friend's wedding.
Besides, why would you send me the invitation with less than a month to go until the ceremony? Even if I wanted to go, it'd be impossible on the timescale.
Well, make it possible then.
No, it's impossible because I have important business on that day I absolutely cannot get out of.
What? You mean there's something more important than my wedding?
That's exactly what I mean.
Go on then, what is it?
My boss's wedding.
Seriously? You'd miss your best friend's wedding to go to some random guy from work's wedding instead?
He's my boss, not some rando. And actually, he's a great guy who's always been there for me. I think it makes perfect sense to prioritize him over you.
Are you saying I wasn't there for you back in college? You probably wouldn't have even made it through without me.
The only thing I remember are your weird attempts to one-up me and put me down in front of everyone.
No.
Anyway, I can't help but feel that the only reason you sent me an invitation is because everyone else declined you. So you sent me one in an attempt to bolster the number, so that people who do attend don't realize everyone actually hates you. Sound accurate?
It's not like that at all.
I hit the bullseye, didn't I? I mean, come on, really? Best friends? Don't make me laugh. I'm done with this conversation. Good luck with your wedding.
I'm sorry to contact you out of the blue like this. Am I right in thinking this is Alice's number?
Maybe it is, but who's this?
It's a pleasure to meet you. My name's Richard Bigglesworth. I'm your best friend Stephanie's fiance. I apologize again for contacting you so suddenly, but I found your number on Steph's phone.
I see. So, what could Stephanie's fiance possibly want with me?
I'll just come straight out with it. Why don't you attend our wedding?
Huh?
Surely you should be there to give your best friend your blessing on the most important day of her life. She broke down in tears. She invited you because she wanted her closest friend to be there on the happiest day of her life. It's a day that only comes around once, you know. But she said you suddenly returned the invite with not attending checked.
I see. Like I told Stephanie, I have an urgent engagement on that day, so I can't come.
Yes, and I'm telling you that the way you've gone about this is just wrong. You've been downright inconsiderate and disrespectful, I tell you. Despite the fact you returned the invitation agreeing to give a speech and piano performance a whole 3 months ago. You have the nerve to pull out now all of a sudden, with less than a month left until the wedding day.
What? The invitation only came last week.
Excuse me?
Plus, I don't know if it was because she didn't know my address, but it was sent to my parents' house of all places. I immediately sent it back, making my intention not to attend crystal clear. And then Stephanie messaged me 2 days ago. She demanded that I attend no matter what, seemingly having no concern whatsoever for the fact that I already have plans of my own. That was also the first I'd heard of the speech and piano performance. Obviously, I told her that it was impossible to.
Wait, what? None of this makes sense.
It's exactly like I said. I didn't even know she was getting married until the invitation showed up at my parents' place last week.
Say what now? To think you call yourself a best friend. That's abhorrent.
Listen, Richard, you don't seem like a bad guy. So I'm going to explain this to you nicely. But me and Stephanie haven't spoke since college. It's been over 7 years. 7 years without so much as a single message exchanged between us. I haven't seen from her, heard from her, or even about her in all that time. Can you really call us best friends?
What? None of this adds up.
What's more, if I had to say one way or the other, far from being friends. I'd say we didn't actually get on that well at all.
Really? Forgive me for asking you this, but do you think there's any chance her sending you an invitation might have something to do with the fact so many people, particularly people she listed as close friends, are turning down the invites?
Are there really that many?
About 90% of the invites she sent were declined.
90%? Jeez. Does that mean, while being fully aware of the situation, you messaged me without harboring a single doubt as to why no one wants to associate with her?
You were listed number 1 as her closest friend, but she did say there was a chance you may have betrayed her.
Betrayed her? How?
Forgive me for dragging up the past here, Alice, but she told me the story of the time you and her were fighting over a certain boy in college. Eventually, that boy chose her over you, and they started dating. She explained how the two of you made peace a few days later, but she did say there was a hostile atmosphere for a little while because you were jealous. I did think that you holding a grudge against her for what happened back then made sense as a potential explanation for you not coming to the wedding.
If you want to hear my side of the story, it sounds like she's playing fast and loose with the facts of what actually happened to suit her ends and manipulate you.
I see. What exactly was Steph like during college?
I'd appreciate it if you went down that rabbit hole yourself. I hope you don't think I'm being rude, but I have no intention of talking at length about my personal affairs with someone I don't know.
I see. I understand. Sorry again for the inconvenience, and thank you for your time.
Alice, you scheming witch! What the hell did you say to him?
What do you want?
My fiance broke off the engagement. You're behind this somehow. I know it. What did you do?
I see. Well, I wouldn't exactly go as far as saying I did something.
Why did he dump me then? Explain now! Your name was mentioned, Alice. I know you were involved. Don't think you're getting away with this.
Listen, Steph. Richard's the one who contacted me.
What? Why?
He messaged me out of the blue and started giving me a hard time about not being able to attend the wedding. All I did was explain my reasons why. I also set him straight on the facts that me and you aren't best friends, or even regular friends, or acquaintances. And that, in fact, I've never liked you. After that, I politely requested he did his own research and leave me alone.
What have you done? This is awful! Do you have any idea how much damage you've caused? You could have told a couple of white lies for me. What would have been the harm? Aren't we friends?
No. Do you have any idea how many people you made cry in my immediate surroundings back then?
What?
As far as I know, and I suspect there are probably more, firstly, there's my best friend Taylor, my little sister, 2 of my classmates from college, plus 1 freshman and 1 senior, and finally me. That makes a grand total of 7. Every single one of us had our boyfriends stolen by you. When you were on a particularly rotten streak, you had 2 or 3 guys on the go simultaneously. Not only that, you strutted around campus with your head held high, boasting of your accomplishments to anyone who'd listen, and relentlessly mocking your victims.
What was your favorite line again?
Oh yeah,
this is just how life is when you're as beautiful as me.
The fact that you've just had your engagement broken off 7 years later suggests to me that you probably haven't changed your ways since becoming an adult and entering society.
It's not my fault guys want me. If anything, it's their fault for not leaving me alone.
Were you born completely devoid of reason?
What?
I remember how you used to strut around flirting with other guys even when you knew they have girlfriends. Or how you'd welcome the advances of other guys even when you already had a boyfriend or boyfriends. The worst part was, you actually seemed to take pleasure in wrecking other couples' relationships. You seem to be lacking the bare minimum of reason required to exist in human society, Stephanie.
Don't be so mean.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that you totally deserve to get dumped by your fiance and have the engagement broken off on this occasion. At the very least, you should use this as an opportunity to reflect on your life up until now and ask yourself why it might be that people consistently seem to want nothing to do with you. Goodbye. Richard messaged me again a couple of days later, apologizing profusely for the hassle his ex-fiancée had caused me. Our messages made him suspect her, and as well as keeping a close eye on her day-to-day movements, he conducted a thorough background check. When he did, he stumbled on an intricate web of lies involving several affairs, some of which he's still in the process of exposing. As things stand, his investigations have unearthed a whopping 3 secret lovers. On top of breaking the engagement, he not only took Stephanie to court for compensation, but all 3 of her lovers too. Obviously, the compensation also included the cost of the now cancelled wedding ceremony and honeymoon. It turns out their own wedding was intended to be quite the extravagant affair, the total cost amounting to somewhere in the region of an unbelievable $70,000, including the damages owed for the 3 affairs. She now owes over $76,000, and not being partially well off financially, is now desperately trying to claw her way out of self-induced debt hell. I don't know whether it's because she's super poor now, but my best friend Taylor said she saw her disappearing into a crowd of people the other day, wearing ripped clothes that looked like they hadn't been washed in weeks, and clutching some half-eaten bread crust like her life depended on it.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time. Kim, I'm so sorry to message you so early in the morning. Our car was stolen this morning. The key we had hanging up by the door inside the house is also gone, so there's a high chance it was stolen. I just got done calling the police, but we're also asking everyone in the neighborhood for any information they might have. Please let me know if you know anything about this. Even if you think it's small or irrelevant, I'd be really grateful for anything you can tell me. Sorry again to bother you. Sorry, Olivia. My signal's bad. I only just checked my messages. Kim! I'm sorry to trouble you when you're busy. If you know anything about our car, I'd really appreciate it if you could tell us. The police are investigating, but we're trying to find out whatever we can from people in the neighborhood. Oh, your car? Well, about that, I borrowed it. What? I came over early this morning and borrowed your car. Forgive me for telling you after the fact, but I'll be borrowing it for the whole day. There's no need to trouble the police over this, so see to it that they go home, okay? Wait, what? You stole our car? Wait, how did you get the key? Don't be so dramatic. I didn't steal anything. I borrowed it. I noticed the key hanging on the wall yesterday when I came over to your place for coffee. So I borrowed while you were in the kitchen cleaning up. I'm gonna come and give it back to you this evening, so relax. What are you talking about? We need it. Oh, don't be silly. I'm only borrowing it for a little while. I always did have a soft spot for your luxury sports car. Oh, I got a little excited every time I saw it parked up in the drive. I wanted to see what driving it was like, just once, to feel the roar of the engine, the wind in my hair. Thanks so much for lending me it. I'm going for another drive now. I didn't lend you it. You come and give it back right now. That's my husband's car, and it's very important to him. Plus, you're not even legally allowed to drive it without your name on the insurance. You have no idea how much trouble you've put us in. Oh, please, just give it back. Stop being such a tightwad. It's always me with you. You have 2 cars anyway. What's the problem with me borrowing one for a little while? I'm a single mother on welfare. I don't even have 1 car. And there you are with 2 parked up in your drive. Neville's having the time of his life being in such a cool car. Neville's in the car with you? But it doesn't have a child seat. If you don't have a car, that means you don't have a child seat of your own, right? Why is Neville in there with you? Do you at least have him strapped in properly? He's fine without a child seat. He's sat comfortably on my knee and having a great time. What's the harm in one day? That's dangerous. What are you thinking? What if you get into an accident? It's fine. Take a chill pill, sweetie. My boyfriend's the one driving. There's no way he'd let anything happen. You really do worry too much. It's no good for your health, you know. That's not the point. Please obey the traffic laws. Anyway, please just come back and give it back right now. But why? We went to the trouble of getting it to the highway and finally just left the state. Even if you tell me to bring it back, it's not like I can just snap my fingers and teleport. You're on the highway with no child seat and a little boy on your knee? Where exactly do you plan on going in our car? Stop messing around. This isn't a joke, you know. Lighten up a little, sweetie. What's the harm? We're just borrowing it for a little while, and like I said, you'll get it back this evening. We even filled the tank up to about, halfway. So if you think about it, this is actually profitable for you. You should be thanking me. No. Bring it back now, Kim, please. You're such a whiner. I told you it was fine, didn't I? Oh, you're being a real buzzkill right now, you know. Stop trying to spoil our fun. Just stay out of our way. Looks like I've got no choice but to ignore you until we return it. Goodbye. What? Wait, Kim! Kim, are you okay? I saw you on the evening news. You really went and caused the mother of all accidents in our car. Shut up. This isn't the time for that. Neville? My little Neville? They said on the news he got flung out of the window by the impact of the crash. Miraculously, there's no danger to his life, but my God, that poor thing. Your son is seriously injured because of you. This isn't my fault. If that damn cop car hadn't suddenly turned its sirens on and started chasing us, if my boyfriend hadn't gotten scared of the cops and tried to swerve at the last minute to try to lose them, your boyfriend who was driving is at fault as well. But if you hadn't stolen our car in the first place, this never would have happened, would it? To think you'd suddenly take a left-hand drive car onto the highway for a long-distance drive. It's the most reckless thing I've ever heard of. What's more, you stole it to begin with and didn't even have a child seat, instead putting your little boy on your knee. You're the worst. Why would you say something so horrible? Aren't you gonna say anything to try to make me feel better? My child's seriously injured, you know. I feel awful for Neville. He didn't deserve this at all. But to be honest, this is 100% your own fault. As for us, not only did we get our very expensive car stolen, but it got so messed up in the crash, it's now a write-off. All because you decided you were in the mood to commit theft today. Shut up! Shut up! You're the one who's at fault for having your car stolen. You're constantly showing up with that flashy sports car parked up in your drive when you know a single mother on welfare lives next door. You're so arrogant that I had no choice. Oh, it must be nice having to worry about money, huh? You probably look down on me and make fun of me behind my back. That's why I stole it. What the? So that's why you stole it? What a load of nonsense. Just because you're on welfare doesn't mean I look down on you. I've never thought anything of the sort, not even once. I mean, I've always treated you as a friend and neighbor, have I not? I invite you into our home for coffee, we go for walks with our kids. And where did the idea that we're rich come from? We're not as well off as you seem to think. My husband saved up like his life depended on it to be able to afford that car. Not only did you steal it, crash it, and have it written off, but you're not even gonna say sorry? Be quiet. I'm the victim here. It's your fault Neville's injured and in the hospital. If you didn't lend us the car, this never would have happened. You have a moral duty to make this right. Pay me compensation. You can say what you like, but the fact you stole and crashed our car is just that, a fact. And nothing you say can change that. You do plan on recompensing us for that, don't you? What? I obviously can't do that. That's impossible. I'm on welfare and barely have enough to get by as it is. Do you seriously think I can afford to pay for such an absurdly expensive car? This is what you get for being so extravagant. Anyway, shouldn't the person responsible for the crash be the one who pays compensation? Which means he's the one who should be paying, not me. By he, I assume you mean your boyfriend? Well, it's true. From what I've researched, it does seem like he'll be the one responsible for covering the compensation for the car itself. That's right, so it has nothing to do with me. But surely you do realize you're obligated to pay me too, right? Because you're going to be arrested for theft? What? I said you're going to be arrested for theft. I already filed the police report, which means the police should be knocking on your door any moment now. If it goes to court and you're found guilty, you'll be sent to jail for up to 10 years and receive a fine of up to $5,000 on top of the compensation you'll be paying us. What? What on earth? 10 years in jail? $5,000 compensation? Do you think I'm made of money? I can't pay that. No. In that case, I'll take you to court and take my money by force. Your savings, furniture, appliances, anything that can be used to pay back the money you owe me will be seized by the court. By hook or by crook, I will get my money. But if you do that, I won't be able to live anymore. Do you plan on completely ruining my life? All over one measly little car? Would you give it a rest already? You're like a broken record. I don't know how many times I need to repeat myself for you to understand. I did not lend you our car. You stole it. You're nothing more than a lowly thief. Reading through all the nonsense you sent me just now would have anyone think you were the world's biggest victim. Have you no sense of personal accountability? Do you have any intention whatsoever of apologizing to me and my husband, the actual victims of your crime? No, it wasn't like that, I swear. I really did think you were lending me it. I didn't think it'd come to this. I thought you'd just laugh it off and let us have it for the day. I thought you were kind. Don't be so ridiculous. You take me for some kind of saint? I'm a human being just like anyone else. If something important gets stolen from me, I get mad and I want to be repaid for the loss I've suffered. But if all my things are taken like you just threatened, I'll be in serious trouble. I won't be able to live anymore. It's true. I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that if a welfare recipient gets arrested, their welfare gets cut off. If you end up doing hard time, I think you can reapply once you get out, though. If my welfare gets cut off now, I'll be in dire straits. Neville's supposed to be going to elementary school next year. That costs money. Olivia, I'm begging you. Please withdraw the police report. Please. Kim, you really are astonishingly selfish. You won't pay compensation. You won't take responsibility. You won't even accept being arrested. Do you really think you can get away with this? I won't be withdrawing the police report. The police will most likely be showing up at your house sometime soon. When they do, please at least have the decency to accept your arrest gracefully. Please just think about this. If I get arrested, what do you think will happen to Nozomu? Do you really want to separate a child from his mother? You monster! You demon! That's not my fault, is it? You did this. Anyway, I'm done speaking with you. I'll see you in court. Bye. After that, Kim and her boyfriend were marched away in handcuffs by the police. Kim, not knowing when to give up, was adamant she'd done nothing wrong, even during the trial, insisting it was her fault for letting it get stolen. Due to that, she was found guilty almost immediately and had to give up all her savings and sell all of her assets to cover the fine and compensation she owed me. Apparently, she told her boyfriend she borrowed the car from a friend in the neighborhood. He had no idea it was stolen. Which I found out when he turned up at my house, got down on his knees, and apologized profusely. That's why I decided to settle on compensation with him out of court. Neville made a full recovery, and after being discharged from hospital, I heard his dad, Kim's ex-husband, took full custody of him. As for my husband, he was pretty depressed after having his beloved sports car stolen and written off like that. But he was ecstatic when I told him he could buy one with our compensation money. He's flicking through the pages of a car catalog with a big grin on his face as we speak. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Mel, where are you right now? Where did your clothes and all your stuff go? Place is empty. Frankie's room too. Everything's gone. What's going on? Where did you and Frankie go?
Hello, Jay. I know this is sudden and might come as a surprise, but me and Frankie won't be coming back home.
What?
I met someone else. We're getting a divorce. Don't worry, I'll only be taking Frankie. You can keep Anthony.
What? Where the hell did this come from? What's going on? Why?
I'm doing this for Frankie's benefit. Let's face it, Jay, our son is a genius. He's always at the top of his class, he loves to study, he excels at every sport he tries, everything he touches turns to gold. He wins the school art and music competitions every single year, too. There's no doubt about it, he's genuinely gifted. Which is why I think he deserves to be raised in the best environment possible and receive a superb education worthy of such high intellect. That's why he needs someone who's capable of providing financially for him. Let's face it, Jay, that's not you, is it? I'm sorry, but our son deserves better than what you can give him.
What? I'm not filthy rich, so you're divorcing me and moving out with my son all of a sudden? I don't understand the logic. We have food on the table, do we not? I thought we were getting by. And why do you only want Frankie? None of this makes any sense. How do you think this is gonna make Anthony feel? Have you even thought about that? This is basically the same as saying, hey son, you're not as smart as your brother, so I'm abandoning you. See ya!
It's not basically the same. That's really what I'm doing. He's a good-for-nothing dullard that will never amount to anything. He's a failure of a human being. Son or not, what benefit is there in having someone like that around?
What? How can you say that? Anthony is not a failure of a human being.
Yes, he damn well is. His grades are below average in literally everything. He sucks at studying, he's so clumsy he doesn't even get picked in team sports, he's useless. He never won a single prize at school. No, it's worse than that. He never won a single thing in his life. How could he be described as anything other than a failure of a human being?
Stop speaking about him like that! Anthony's doing his best. He works so hard and tries to meet your expectations of him. Just because he might not always meet them doesn't mean he's not trying. He skips on sleep to study, damn it! Besides, his grades might not be the best, but they did start going up over the last year.
Maybe they did start going up a little recently, but they're still only slightly above average. If that's the best he can do when he pushes his limits, he's obviously not cut out for anything special. Face it, he lost the dice roll. Frankie got the clever genes. All the study in the world is meaningless without results. Frankie's always been a natural at whatever he does. How did his big brother end up so useless? If we're honest, he'll only end up holding Frankie back. Do you want to end up with 2 failed children?
Come on, are you seriously saying we should separate them? They're brothers and they love each other. They get on like a house on fire. How do you think they'd feel about being torn apart? They're still in elementary and middle school, for crying out loud. It would crush them and you know it.
Frankie would be more crushed by growing up to be a failure and realizing it was all because he received the poisonous influence of his loser brother for far too long. We have to be courageous enough to make the decision now before it's too late. Anyway, whether you like it or not, it's already decided. I'm taking Frankie because he's gifted. He's going to do great things one day. My new boyfriend is very wealthy. He's the CEO of a major donut chain, but he doesn't have any kids of his own. He said if Frankie can maintain his excellent grades until he graduates college, he'll adopt him and appoint him as successor to his company. And the cream of the intellectual crop, with the support of my new boyfriend, he'll be receiving a world-class education of the kind that most people can only dream of. Then one day, he'll be part of the business elite, the backbone of America. Which is precisely why he can't be allowed to associate with a pair of brain-dead morons like you two for 1 second longer. Me and Frankie are moving up in the world. And me and you will be cutting all ties.
Just wait a sec, Mel. You don't just get to decide something like this all on your own. I won't accept it.
I don't care whether you accept it or not. Whatever you say, I'm absolutely not taking his moron brother. I wouldn't if you paid me. I hope you and Anthony enjoy your new life together. It might be hard, what with you two having a combined IQ of less than 50 and all, but good luck. Goodbye forever. Hello, Jay. It's been a while. It's me, Mel.
What do you want after all this time? Go away.
I'd rather you weren't so rude. I was thinking of celebrating today, so I gave you a call. I heard the news about Anthony getting into med school. That's my boy. I always knew he'd do great things. He's got brains just like his mother. I can't tell you how proud this makes me.
Oh, that's strange. I could have sworn you were calling him every name under the sun when we last spoke 5 years ago. Good-for-nothing loser, brain dead, a failure of a human being. You cast us both aside like pieces of trash.
He really was a failure back then, though. I mean, come on, Jay. His grades were below average. Let me tell you, though, I was astonished when I heard he'd made it into med school. My jaw practically hit the floor. But you know what? Deep down, I always knew that he had what it took to go the distance, to really do something amazing with his life.
You've got some nerve, woman. The only reason you want to snuggle up to him now is because he got into med school. I can read you like a book. You're as shallow as you are naive. He doesn't need you to celebrate for him. Now get lost.
Oh, wait, just wait. That's not all I wanted to say. There's something else we have to talk about.
There is? You mean you have more nonsensical crap to bore me with? Today must be my lucky day, huh?
Stop being so difficult and just listen. It's about Frankie. You know how his grades were so excellent back when I took him 5 years ago? Well, I'd like to trade him for Anthony.
Excuse me?
No one could deny he was the shame of our family back then. He was so clumsy, it was like he had 2 left feet, which naturally made him useless at sports, and his academic ability was even worse. But now he's in med school, I have absolutely no problem with acknowledging him as my son. Rather than betting everything on Frankie, whose performance at this point is so pathetic, he might not even make it past his college entrance exams. I think it would make more sense to invest our hopes for the future in Anthony, who's already proven he's the one who's going places by getting into med school. My husband agreed. He said if he's clever enough to get into med school, he'd have no problem with allowing him to live with us. Look, basically, you need to give me Anthony.
Wow. Just when I thought you couldn't sink any lower, you speak about our boys like they're racehorses.
I get it. Maybe there's a better way to say it, but when you think about it realistically, children are basically racehorses, aren't they? My life will change enormously depending on whether my sons succeed or not. It's only natural to want to hedge your bets on the promising one. You get that, right?
Like hell I do! You're twisted! Anthony isn't some tool solely existing to provide you with a comfortable life. Not only did you snatch Frankie away from his dad and brother, but now you're trying to manipulate Anthony like he's some pawn on a chessboard?
Fine. If you don't want to give me Anthony, let's trade.
What?
I'll give you Frankie if you give me Anthony. Frankie might still only be in high school, but it is one of the most prestigious high schools in the country. I'll even cover all his tuition fees and send you regular child support payments. You can't say fairer than that. I think this is a really favorable trade for you.
Wow, just hold on a sec. You want us to trade sons? What are they, Pokemon cards? Are you insane? How could you do that to Frankie? I thought you loved him.
You'll probably find it eventually, so I may as well just tell you the truth. But Frankie moved out half a year ago.
He did what?
He was doing great until middle school. Top grades, always winning competitions and prizes. He was the golden boy. But when he moved up to high school, he met a girl on social media who clearly must have poisoned his mind, because not long after they met, he left home. He did carry on going to school for a little while, and he did used to message me every now and then, but eventually he stopped showing up. And even if I went to meet him or lied in wait where he couldn't see me, nothing. I have no idea where he went and have no way of getting him back.
Frankie did that?
My husband flipped a switch. I've never seen him so furious. He invested so much in that boy's education so he could be his successor and inherit the company one day. To think all it took to destroy it was some bimbo. He threatened to divorce me if I couldn't get Frankie back.
No way. So the only reason you want Anthony is as a replacement for Frankie? You're using him as a tool to avoid getting divorced?
If I'm completely honest, yes. We had an arrangement. My husband, being childless, said that if I could provide him with an adoptive son and successor to his company, he'd promise me a life of luxury as a celeb trophy wife. If I don't hurry up and find him a replacement, I'm gonna be on the streets.
I didn't know it was actually possible for a single human being to be this despicable. You make me sick. I have no words. To think part of me actually thought you were being sincere back then when you said you were doing what you did for Frankie. Turns out you were only ever thinking about yourself. Does your selfishness know no bounds?
You can say what you want about me, I don't care. Are you gonna give me Anthony or not? I might not be able to trade him for Frankie, but who knows, maybe he'll go and live with you voluntarily. If Anthony can get into med school after being such a failure, anything's possible. Maybe Frankie could even become a respectable human being again if he lived with you. So what's it gonna be? Will you give me him?
You must be deluded if you think even for a second I'm actually going to go along with this. You're something else. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee. You're the one who got abandoned.
Huh?
You probably thought you were the one who abandoning me and Anthony, but the only one who actually got abandoned is you.
What are you talking about? What does that mean?
Frankie probably finally saw through your unparalleled selfishness and decided he was better off making a life for himself rather than relying on his deluded and very likely sociopathic mother. Basically, he had enough of you and didn't want to be around you a moment longer.
There's no way Frankie would ever think that about me. He's a genius. How could anyone so wise and intelligent have a negative opinion of me?
He left precisely because he's wise and intelligent. He probably realized that he was doomed to a life of being used and manipulated if he stayed with you. So he made a break for it and abandoned you. That's my boy.
Oh my god. After we spent so much money on him.
Anyway, I won't be giving you Anthony, and we won't be doing any kind of trade. In fact, Anthony is adamant he never wants to see you again. I also have no intention of letting him come anywhere near someone as dangerous as you. You can beg me as much as you like. I'm simply going to ignore you, and I will absolutely not be helping you. Leave us alone. Forever.
No, wait, please. I'm gonna be in so much trouble if you don't help me. Please, I won't have anywhere to live. If I can't provide my husband with a replacement son, his company will be successorless. What do you propose he do about that, huh?
Oh, is that my problem? Nope. That has precisely zero to do with me and my sons. Zilch. Nada.
Please, Jay, I'm begging you. Will you at least let Anthony meet my husband? He can do what he likes as long as he agrees to inherit the company. If he doesn't, I'm gonna get kicked out. I'll be homeless. Could you live with yourself? Be honest, could you?
Yes, very easily. It's actually kind of ironic, isn't it? You called Anthony a failure of a human being for so long, but ultimately, you're only capable of getting by begging from and sponging off of others. Looks like you were the one that failed a human being all along. After that, Mel showed up at my front door after driving a very long way to try and persuade me. Or should I say, my old front door. I'd moved house 2 years back and made a point of not telling her my new address. So I was surprised to hear from my old neighbor about the strange woman making a racket next door. Apparently, she gave up eventually, and her efforts to contact me and Anthony ended in vain. I heard she also went to the police to see if they'd help her find Frankie, but they told her no crime had been committed and refused to have anything to do with it. Ultimately, her worst fears came true. Her husband divorced her, and she was homeless. She somehow managed to scrape together the rent on a tiny cockroach-ridden apartment and currently spends her days in the depths of poverty, probably contemplating where it all went wrong. By the way, there's something I should come clean about. Frankie moved in with me and his brother 6 months ago. The stress of his mother constantly restricting his freedom, combined with the pressure put on by him by her husband to take over his company, became too much to bear. In order to pull off this vanishing act, he pretended he met a girl online and had decided to go and live with her. Then, as he moved up to high school, he put together a bare minimum of essential items and came home to live with me and his brother. I know he's my son, but if I do say so myself, that was one hell of a move. I was in awe of his decisiveness and strength of will. With his mom getting divorced, he couldn't afford to stay at the original high school he moved up to, so he moved to another one near our house. Now, he's living comfortably while doing the things that he wants to do, living life on his own terms. As for Anthony, he was over the moon to be reunited with his brother. The three of us intend to live our lives in happiness and harmony from now on.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.